Hello everybody. I'm Kilovoltage. Real Kilovoltage is my handle, and you're listening to us on Radix Radio, which is my tweet space. And I'm here with Radix Enigma today to talk about his project Roidboiz on Radix DLT. RadixDLT.com is their website, which is part of the Radix token. Web3, which Radix is probably, I would say, my favorite up-and-coming project because of sharding, atomic composability at scale, security, royalties. The list goes on and on. But before you start talking to me, I just want to say, too, I do own a couple of your tokens just for transparency. I wasn't given those by you or anything. I just purchased them because I liked them. And of course, I own Radix tokens as well. So anybody who's listening should know that we both like Radix, and that's why we're here. So Gordon, say hi, and let's start talking.
Great. Thanks for having me. Firstly,
Yeah.
It's been really cool listening to your radio over the last few weeks and getting the other projects on. So really happy I could join in and come aboard.
Thanks, man. Your art was killer, by the way, that you put out last week. Love it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, try and keep things rolling to just sort of keep a bit of engagement and let people know that the project's going ahead and flowing nicely.
You're like the first interview I think I've done after things kind of collapsed in the crypto space, and I think that it's awesome that we're still here, that we're keep moving forward, and I think the roadmap for Radix is super bullish. So I'm glad that we're going to keep moving. And actually, I have 2 more interviews lined up after yours that I haven't announced yet. So I'm keeping doing my thing, and you're keeping doing your thing. I think it's the way to go, man. It's only going to get better from here.
Oh, that's exactly right. Look, I mean, whoever's been in the market's seen the cycles before, and
yeah,
as I say, just keep building, and things will start flowing again. Ebbs and flows.
It's a little comforting, isn't it? Like that we've done this a few times already. Like I don't know. I don't know if you're in the same boat as me, but maybe comforting is not the best word. But I feel like it's I would be much more concerned if this was the first time that Bitcoin dumped on us.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us about a little bit about your background. What kind of work do you do? Obviously, we want to protect your privacy too, so you don't have to give us your real name or anything or your town, but kind of just like what do you do and where are you from? I'm from the States.
Yeah, so I just go by Enigma in here. I've sort of set it up as a lot of people do for privacy, but I'm based in New Zealand. I'm not a local. I've been here close on 18 years or so now.
Oh, nice.
Sort of, actually born and bred from South Africa, of all places.
Oh, wow. So you're from a man of the world.
Man of the world. Literally most of my early life was traveling around. So a lot of people can't pick up the accent and ask me where I'm from whenever I'm chatting. But yeah, so South African and been over here, most of my adult life.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what brought you to that part of the world? I know it's like extremely beautiful, right? I've heard a ton of good things about New Zealand. Here it's like Hobbiton and it's beautiful, and I don't know. There's just so much to say about that place. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's beautiful. I'm in not the capital, but what's the main sort of city in Auckland over here, and where most of the business and stuff gets done. It's the biggest city, but I'm literally 5K, so a couple of miles out of the central city, and I'm surrounded by forest over here. I was telling you just before that they don't know that there's loud birds, so you wouldn't even know I'm in the city at the moment. Kind of thing.
You work from home, or is that like out like the woods in the city, or is it like out towards your house?
No, it's in the suburbs, so it's in my house, by my house, sorry. But
that's awesome.
So yeah, I'm still working from home at the moment. I mean, we've got offices in the city, but most of our businesses, just working remotely, still with things going on.
Yeah, and you're like into marketing, is that correct assumption?
Yeah, that's right. So I've been in marketing for good on close on 15 years now. Sort of done the realms of startups where I've been a solo person doing that, very hands-on, to running global marketing teams for some sort of high-end companies.
Yeah, you said Fortune 500 companies, a couple of them.
Yeah, a couple of them.
That's
So running the
awesome.
national teams of those, dealing with globals. I mean, yeah, this totally marketing's so broad. There's such a wide range of what you're doing with these different companies.
Sure,
It's great.
sure.
Yeah.
It's awesome to meet all the people from around the world and all their different walks of life, man. It's really cool that you're like representing New Zealand over here.
Yeah, I'm glad I can. I think I'm one of a handful. I mean, I think the market over here in terms of crypto, it's quite young. I mean, whenever people are talking about it, most of the community is talking about the big players like Bitcoin,
Yeah.
Ethereum. But and there's a local exchange here. Well, I think it's got in a few countries now called Easy Crypto, and you can vote on which coins come on. And I think there's 3 votes for Radix at the moment. So,
Hey, it's a start.
so gotta push it out.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. They're lucky they got such a powerhouse over there advocating for them.
Do my
Is
best.
it is a regulation good for crypto in New Zealand? How's that? Do they charge you taxes on your staking and stuff like that, or
Uh,
are they pretty cool?
No, well, they treat it as property, same as gold. So charged. We don't get capital gains, I don't think, but we've got charges on the income. Actually, we are charged on the capital gains. I lie. So
Gotcha.
they get a good 30% or so when you're selling it, and they tax you on each transaction. It's similar to the
Sure.
States, I
Yeah, I hate it, man. It's awful.
think.
I just want to keep my own property for myself, but that's a whole nother discussion. So tell me
Yeah,
about your history. Like, what got you into crypto and Radix in particular?
yeah. So in terms of just, I've always sort of been into the technology side of things. I've actually got a degree in computing. So, and I grew up. My dad's sort of when I was young, when there's still DOS-based computers and things, I was always ticking along in those, and it's always been an interest. So I think when Bitcoin first got mentioned publicly, I was aware of that. Sort of thought that would be cool. It wasn't a big priority at that stage. I was busy partying and spending my money on things I shouldn't be spending money on. But I was aware of it and thought it was a really cool concept. Um, Once again, when Ethereum came through, I was at that stage. I'd gotten a couple of Bitcoin and thought Ethereum, yeah, this looks sweet. Didn't invest major amounts when it initially came through. I was sort of at that stage working more corporate, and my money was going to things like the house and the mortgage and things like that. But along the way, got some of that going, and I've always sort of throughout my career just kept an eye on the space and what's been happening. And I think around 2019, I saw one of the articles about Dan and Radix, and did a bit of a diving and thought this isn't the sort of
Oh,
the
that's
next sort of
awesome.
player.
So you're kind of
Next,
early on then when you saw that.
yeah, I was really early on, and I didn't invest at that stage. I sort of came on and started doing my initial big buy into it early 2021, basically just after the initial public sale as such. And then I sort of sat around, didn't do too much in the community when I first bought, but I started slowly joining the socials, and pretty much when just before the beta net in sort of April last year started kicking off, I started gearing up and started chatting to the community. It was such an engaging community, just listening to the conversations, which really sort of got me bullish on the whole situation.
Yeah,
Just the
they're
discussions in
they're
the
very
groups.
they're a techie group, and they love to discuss, especially like on Telegram and Discord. I think it was. I found them on Reddit when I first found out about Radix, and that kind of led me to like a small group, but very intelligent group of people, and they had really lofty plans, and I really liked everything. Sounded almost perfect to me, actually.
Yeah, I think that's sort of, it sounds to a lot of people, it sounds too perfect, and that's sort of but that's what's good about the community. They're always open to the discussion. It's not just a bunch,
Yeah,
well, not a
I do
bunch of
love that
just
about it.
riffs
If you
and
got if you
going to
got a
the
good
moon.
product, you have to be able to handle it, criticism,
Yeah,
and face it, right. And it's cool that they do that. They're happy to talk about it on their groups, right? They won't kick you out unless you're really terrible.
yeah, it's just pretty funny watching the community at the moment and things. Obviously, there's when the market's quiet, you always find things to discuss. So that's entertaining watching. And I'm not too loud in the groups as such, but I'm generally over what's going on.
Would you be over in like Twitter, Telegram, or where do you like to go for your Radix info?
I'm on Telegram and Discord mostly.
Sure.
Mostly Telegram these days. I signed up actually initially onto the Discord, but it's not sort of the space I'm in most of the day. So I signed up to the
I find
Telegram and
myself
see.
on Twitter all the time. Unfortunately, I spend way too much time on Twitter. Even at work, man. I'm like working I use my phone a lot for my work because I handle a lot of supply chain stuff. So I'm always like
Yeah.
taking photos of supply products and contacting vendors and things. And at the same time, I'm like, oh, I got a notification. I got to see what my Radix boys are up to. So I definitely spend a little too much time on it at work. But how'd you get involved in the Roidboiz project? And can you also tell me on that point? Because when I started it, I feel like the only thing I recall was maybe Scorps and Nerds. But yeah, you were definitely close to around that time. Like you're definitely one of the earlier projects in my memory.
Yeah, so I'm a creative Roidboiz. I am doing it in terms of the art and website and sort of marketing of it. It's I'm solo projects, but I'm not a coder as such. So in terms of that, I signed up pretty early with Cedric and Rems over at Zidar and Radix Collection because he's pretty full on in his
Gotcha.
coding. So I've gotten him to help me on the smart contract side of things and get things rolling. So I'm pretty bullish on that side of the team in terms of him helping out on that. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
in
really
terms of
impressed with
when,
all his work too. He's got some good stuff with the Radix collection.
yeah, he's one of the first guys actually doing stuff on the ledger, and so I'm pretty happy there.
So he
In
helps.
terms,
He's
sorry, go
involved.
ahead.
Is he involved in Roidboiz in some way?
He's not part of it as such, but he's an official. He's the development partner. Um,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
so yeah, they've got a bit of a stake in it there, and I've got some limited edition Radix collection Roidboiz, which I'll chat about with the limited editions.
Yeah. Cool.
Um,
So
yeah,
what time around would you say you got started with Roidboiz? Was it like late last year?
yeah. It was we officially I did the pre-release launch on the 25th of Jan, so sort of coming up with the concept. It
Oh,
was sort
okay.
of just before, just as a sort of second wave of NFTs were sort of
Cool.
coming along to Radix. But I sort of then I came up with the idea probably late last year. It was sort of I was involved from pretty early on with the Doge Cube group, um, just in terms of their meme brawls that they did for
Oh yeah.
play some
I have
6 months or something.
good memories of those, man. That feels like the early days, but I felt like I was getting something for nothing. It was really awesome.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, that was I think that was, if not the first, one of the very first coins that was created on the ledger. And I sort of joined. I created a couple of memes for their first week, and then Alfred, who aka Mr. Peanut Butter, told me, "Oh, you should actually do some of these. There's some good cash in it for you." So ended up doing all the others after that. And at that
Yeah.
stage, it was less. I think they've moved away from the naming, but yeah, the whole thing was DogeCube was Cerberus, but on roids, and we sort of the Roidboiz was the name initially, and it
Sure.
sort of
That makes sense.
moved towards the Rad Pack because I recall someone was saying roids has got a bit of negative connotation, but if you take it too seriously, can't take things like this too seriously.
No, no. I think
Uh,
it captures the energy of the community, right? Like everyone is like insane for Radix, and they're just like it's like pumping full of energy and zeal for what we have in store with like Babylon and Xi'an.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I chatted when I was thinking about the whole concept. I actually had talked to Mr. Peanut Butter over at DogeCube initially first,
Yeah.
because I mean it was their sort of within their realm, and I was like, oh, I wanted to get his blessing. Maybe he wanted to do something. He was already sort of doing something with, as you probably know, is DogeCube Wow NFT. So
Yeah.
we didn't do it officially, but a sort of unofficial blessing to do it and take the concept and run with it. So I was sort of built from there.
Sweet.
And yeah, so in terms of the collection, there's 9,936 Roidboiz, and that's the total. There's not going to be more. That's all of them. And a lot of people ask why that number. It's a pretty
Yeah, I was
unique
wondering about
number.
that today.
So part of the description, so they're these roided up dogs, and they live at the farthest end of the Radix shard space, which is 2 to the power of 256. If you decide to look at that entire massive number, which is 115 quinta something bajillion, wouldn't know how to say it. There's 9,936 is the sort of final number within that. So
Oh,
it sort of
awesome.
just ties into the whole Radix experience, and that's kind of what the whole Roidboiz thing is about. It's sort of well, there's other elements to it. I just sort of want to create a bit of awareness around Radix and sort of pay tribute to the various elements within it and help sort of create some activity within the ecosystem.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. I love every week. I feel like I see a new person I know in the ecosystem coming up in your Roidboiz Twitter feed, and it's awesome to see all the artistic take on the familiar faces.
It's becoming more and more difficult as Scorpions arrived, because obviously I know some people from early days when they could see who they are and what they're about, but there's some advocates which I want to sort of do things to. A good example is T-Moth's always shouting out about a whole bunch of stuff, but all I'd be able to do for him is a naked yellow boy with a cigarette in his hand, maybe, and purple eyes.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about that. It's hard when you don't necessarily see them.
Yeah, but you get a gist for some of them, and yeah, I do what I can.
It's going really well though, man. They're really fun, and I guess officially for people that are outside of the Radix space, can you tell me what we're talking about when we mentioned like these custom Roidboiz?
Yeah, so in terms of the collection within the Roidboiz, there are 5 limited editions as such. One of them is the Radix Legends, that's what we're talking about at the moment. Basically, a shout out to team members of Radix and early community members who are out and about, GCs, which is Genesis crew, early investors, and basically guys like yourself. Haven't told you, but you were laughing that when we had a discussion about the Thor Roidboiz, I said you couldn't have Thor without a hammer, so I'm going to shout out that guy to you and make another Thor one with a hammer.
Oh, sweet.
So you'll be in the collection.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, yeah, so there's that. Then there's the action. So as part of that, and just I'll do the description of what these limited editions are as I go through. Within that, I sort of felt it was fair, and I just laughed at Captain Charles's meme this morning. It's the trading royalties from that particular edition will be going to charity. I mean, I think it's only fair based on the being community members, and it's these personalities.
Sure. Yeah, that's cool of you, man. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's that. All of those ones will go to charity, whether it's something I choose or that the community chooses in the end. That's still up for discussion, but I'm not going to be touching any of those royalties from the trading. Then there's an action hero series, which is basically just characters from various genres of popular culture, be it action movies, games. I did Slash recently, I think. So just musicians,
that Blade,
just popular.
That Blade one is amazing.
Oh, glad you liked it. Yeah, I quite enjoyed making that one, the background and things, and just blending stuff together.
The color balance is perfect. It's good stuff. I heard like 4 or 5 people say they loved it on the NFT Telegram feed because I had posted it on there when I first announced we were going to do this interview. I see Be Like Water here. He has one also. He's a legend as well. What's up, Be Like Water?
Good to see you here,
man. So then you got the hero collection, the personality collection. As there's another one too. Is that correct?
Yeah. So with the action heroes, and so if the royalties from that create a pool, which will, once the smart contracts are in place, all revenue from that will go randomly to a Roidboiz holder each month. So it sort of becomes a little draw each month to sort of promote trading volume and stuff as well.
When you say royalty, are you referring to like trade fees, or you mean like the cost of the sale of the NFT?
Trade fees, because so they obviously
like resales.
Yeah, the resales.
Sweet.
So yeah, so then there's the Radix collection, which is for Zidar and Cedric and Rem's projects. So 5% of the boys will have a sort of unique Radix collection trait,
Oh, nice.
and they'll have benefits within their project. So if you've got that trait, that limited edition, they're going to be doing stuff potentially in the future with their projects.
You're saying if I hold one of those NFTs, I might get some benefit in their collection?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, that's huge. And that's kind of
Yes.
and just so people know, I think I know the answer, but just so people listening know, that allocation is totally random, based on mathematics, I guess. When you get the drop on the first mint.
Completely random. Yeah. I mean, so the coding is set that it's going to be the 5%, but where they end up within the collection, no one knows, including myself.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. What about Moonboys? Is that one of those groups, or is that another group?
So that's a separate limited edition. I'll leave them for last because I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The next one along is the Swindler series, Swindlers, which has no trading fee. So it just gives a bit of incentive to holders there. They don't have to pay anything when they're selling or buying. Which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool. And will those be based on anything in particular, like visually speaking?
For them, probably not. They're just going to be hidden in the crown. They'll have that trait, the limited edition trait, which says they're
Oh,
swindlers,
sweet.
and then you won't. Yeah, you just
So you'll
won't
have some
have
kind
to
of
pay
trait
for it.
that you'll notice, and then you'll know that you have that, and that gives it additional value.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. I didn't
And
realize
then,
till today, I
sorry.
don't think, about the other limited edition ones. I knew about the community and the the media ones, like the movies and stuff, but I didn't realize you had all these other ones. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Is
information
this
on the
still a
page.
part of the total of what's it, 5%?
So that's no. So the Radix collection is 5%. So there's going to be, in terms of Radix Legends and Action Heroes, I'm going to do a total of around 100 between the two. I've made artwork for around 50 of them already. So I'll just keep grinding away at those. And then the Swindlers, I'm doing 100 of those. And then the final limited edition will be the Moon Boys, which is also going to be 100 sort of, and they're a sort of VIP Roidboiz as such. Basically, they'll be open to sort of their own benefits, even beyond the other
Oh, really?
Roidboiz. Yeah, so if you're holding those, the whole thing with them, wanted to play around with the smart contracts and have a bit of fun with them. With what we called alliances within the Roidboiz, which is basically partnerships. There's a bunch of other Radix projects which are trying to get on board and have gotten on board, and so there'll be things that benefits within those projects that only some of these Moon Boys will be able to get. But the catch, but the catch with the Moon Boys ones, and part of why I've only limited to 100, is that you won't be able to sell it for less than 20x the floor price of Roidboiz.
Oh,
So
wow.
the smart contract is going to lock it. So it's really very much a VIP thing, and so there'll be a draw card for projects to sort of say, okay, these guys have a bit of power. It's people that are wanting to spend that money on something. So our project's going to offer them that sort of benefit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that does. It's kind of like Floop, I guess, in a sense, right? It's sort of like a utility NFT. I guess Floop's not really an NFT, but as far as utility goes, you're holding an item that gives you an ability that happens to also be an NFT.
Yeah, that's right, and that's sort of part of
That's awesome, man.
Roidboiz as well.
So what if you have one of these Moon Boys and you want to sell it? Was it based on the floor price, or what's the 20 times? Where does that number come from?
It's going to be floor price, so it'll be based on trading once
So if
everything kicks off.
Roidboice takes off and it's worth like just for the sake of discussion, let's just say that the floor price is right now is like 200, right? Unless you
Yeah.
use Doge Cube. Is that promotion still running?
Yeah, so it's 200,000 Doge Cube at the moment.
200,000 Doge Cube or 200 XRD.
Yeah.
But let's say a year from now it's 1,000, then it'd be 20,000 to sell it, or you're locked in essentially.
Well, you're locked in
Only on the Moon Boys in
only
particular.
on the Moonboys, yeah.
But the
But
ability is going to be so awesome.
but hopefully we get to bring so many cool things from projects that
Yeah,
you'll be happy to hold it, basically.
yeah, that's awesome. And I'm sure if you wanted to give it away, someone would love to take it off your hands.
Take it
If
off
you
your
couldn't
hands.
sell it, they'd be like, "Oh, I'd love to have that ability. Please give it to me."
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, I'm going to be chatting with Cedric as to the capability of the smart contract and what we can do.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. I
That's
didn't
the
know you
initial
guys were
concept.
working together. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so that's the limited editions.
what are your plans on? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's just so in terms of those alliances, been working sort of with or chatting to a bunch of projects, and some are listed on the site, some aren't. Likes of Radix Collection, Radix Kickstart. So Gradual is
Yeah,
pretty cool. I was chatting
that's really cool, dude. So eventually you're gonna have a lot of other projects on Radix involved in Roidboiz in some fashion, as far as I suppose with the like scripto abilities too, that could really be some interesting things in the future.
Yeah, well, that's part of what made me bullish with the Gradual. I mean, I've had chats with Luke over there, and got chatting with him early on. One of his early videos really got me onto him and to what he was wanting to do with his game over there.
Yeah,
In
Red Duel,
terms
you
of
said.
Gradual, yeah.
Yeah,
So like you'll see within the boys, there's a couple of them have Gradual weapons.
that's awesome.
Once they would and see what interactions can happen there. I mean, yeah, we're just really playing around and seeing what's really capable with NFTs coming up.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool because so far, like most projects don't really use their NFTs much for other things, but there's so much potential. It's exciting that that you're thinking about that, and I feel like Radix in general, because it's so easy to code, it'll be I think there'll be a lot more of that sort of stuff on our DLT, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was looking. I mean, as I said, I'm not a coder as such. I do web dev and I've got computing behind me, but been looking at the crypto stuff and like Omar's examples for minting NFTs. I was like, oh, I could pretty much do this in a few lines. It's
Yeah,
pretty crazy what they're doing.
yeah, and it'll add security too, which is great. I have some Ethereum that I picked up during this market dip, and I always worried like holding it. Is this gonna bite me someday for how like unstable it is to code and easy to get into? I feel much
Yeah,
safer holding my Radix, which I have a ton of
yeah,
Radix too. Actually, I've my if you look at percentage of my bag, Radix is by far a lot more than all my other tokens. Just putting that out there to the community. Even
oh yeah,
even more than
likewise.
Bitcoin. So yeah. How about the traits of the boys? How many traits are you talking?
Yes, I mean I'm going pretty hard out on those traits, and it's sort of part of where the price point comes in. 200 XRD. It's sort of on the higher end of the NFTs in the market at the moment, but it's really a matter of how much work's going into these projects, I guess.
Yeah,
Not
this sounds
not
like
not
there's a lot
shutting,
of work.
not putting down any other projects because they're awesome, even at all those various price points. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the artwork coming through is amazing. But in terms of art traits, I've got basically all except one. Roidboiz will have 16 layers tied together,
Oh wow.
and then which is really quite a few to try and tie together. One of them, which is going to be Cerberus, which is going to be the rarest of rare, will have a 17th layer, getting those 3 heads on.
Oh sweet.
So there's
That's
going to be
awesome.
Cerberus is going to be leading the pack. But yeah, and in terms of individual attributes within that, up to about 1,000 at the moment, which is pretty high.
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of variety, and sometimes I worry that projects, that their images will be too similar. But it sounds like that's not necessarily going to be the case in your situation.
Definitely not going to be the case here. What which I've been tweaking with the generation code, is basically getting the more generic ones percentages higher, and actually getting those rare traits to really hit that rarity compared to other stuff. So, but yeah, everything's going to be highly unique based on what's been pushed out from the generator already.
Can you say that again about the generic versus the rare? I didn't really follow what you were saying there.
Yes, I mean there'll be more generalized traits and more generic traits as such,
gotcha.
Which we had set the higher percentages to in terms
Sure.
of, but they're still going to look unique, but there'll just be more of them scattered around, and then there'll be a bunch of the rare ones which are really low percentages.
Awesome. I want to talk about I'm gonna butcher this Labagare.
Labagare, yeah.
But I don't know. Do you want to go into any more details on the traits or anything though before I start heading into that kind of stuff? As far as what do you create these in, and are you creating all the art yourself?
Yeah, so everything's done myself. I do the base sketching, and well, actually 90% of it's in Procreate on my iPad. So sketching that out, so I sort of use a high contrast. If you see on the website, you can see a bit of an example of the initial steps I take.
Yeah, you have like a sort of like a pink sort of workup right before you sort of color it in.
And make sure it all works together.
And that's all done to layering. Like you have like a base model, and then you layer the pieces onto it.
Yeah, exactly right. So I mean, even there's no sort of face or anything. It's literally just the body, as most NFTs are. It's very much a base, and then you chuck the 16 layers being chucked in and around each other.
Sweet. And how about the custom ones that you're doing for like community members? Is that similar process? But I suppose you're not using like a template as much as more custom work on those, because they're. I mean, I guess if it's a one-of-one attribute, you're probably not gonna.
Well, some of them, I mean, so some will be completely one-on-one traits. So yeah, within those, there is a bit of flexibility to say, okay, I'm going to take some initiative here, like I've done Captain Charles. Had to cut off the ears to make him look like a dolphin.
Yeah, that was cool, man. He's got to be the most unique one, right? Because he doesn't have three heads, but he's a whole other species.
Whole other species at the moment. But within those, I mean, they are like there's Be Like Waters, one which I did recently. There's the OC guys. So there'll be other boys with the OC T-shirt and the mascot.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bit more freedom within those limited editions to say, okay, I'm going to cut the code and say this can do this, and it's going to be completely sort of one-on-one.
How much time does it take to create a Roidboiz and also a custom one? Would you say how much you spend on? Is that like a few hours or a day or?
In terms of doing the limited editions one, I can generally get a general mock-up in an evening, which is when I'm working, because I'm obviously full-time as well.
Right.
It's still just.
So you're a really busy guy then. You come home and work on Roidboiz and then go back to work.
Pretty much, eat, sleep.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I'm bullish on your time management skills.
Appreciate it. Throw in the family and telling me to spend some more time with them.
Oh yeah, my wife is the same way. I just have to remind her though, when my wife starts bashing on Radix, I'm like, hey, I know the price is not great right now, and I spend a ton of time on it, but it's gonna be a beautiful thing someday. You got to foster it. It's like a seed. You got to grow it, and it's all worthwhile stuff that we're doing.
when you're walking around in your Gucci's, you can thank me later.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how about the Labagare? What is it?
Yeah, so what it is, that's one of Cedric's the Radix Collections projects as well. Labagare, it's the 1 million pixels project they're doing.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, well, I think so. I'm not French. It's a brawl. It's a friendly brawl between two projects. we're
Sweet.
going up against the Buffs. They reckon they're the biggest, the most muscular competition.
They look pretty muscular, yeah, for sure.
They're doing all right. So yeah, it's a click battle between the two communities. Basically, each time you click, you can either choose to add some blank space to one of the project's pictures as such, or add or take away some blank space from yours. So there's defense and offense kind of situation, and you're
That's
basically
awesome.
trying to blank out the other project's picture.
Is there a
Yeah, and
time
within that,
window on that? Is it like a certain limited amount of time to try to take them down?
so this one's going to be 24 hours. You get 3 rounds so basically you get to blank out the picture 3 times within that space, and then it will end. There are time limits between when you can click, and holding either of the project's tokens, however many you hold, will have benefit to how quickly you can sort of attack or defend each time.
I'm gonna have to check it out. And that's Radix-1 Radix-1-million-pixels.com.
That's the one.
Cool. And those are individual pixel NFTs, is that right? I think you're actually buying a pixel, if I understand correctly.
So within their main project, the Radix 1 million pixels, yeah, that's what you're doing. That's their main project. This is a sort of sub thing within it, using the same technology, I assume, same coding. Yeah, so you're not buying anything as such within this brawl.
So I can compete for free to support my team.
Yeah,
Oh,
and from
that's
it
good to know.
you're gonna be if you're a heavy brawler and just keep clicking, there's some rewards for you at the end of it. So
that's sweet. Yeah, all my video games history will finally pay off. Those fast fingers.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Incidentally, just on a side note, like when Thomas was working on that project, which is Buff Wild, and this was like a long time ago. Like, I'm sure it wasn't that long ago because things are going so fast in Radix, but it feels like it was years ago. But anyway, we were looking at like pictures of buffaloes and stuff, and I was like, dude, you got to go something like this. I'm speaking of like buff, and I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of like a bull, like a cow bull, but like the ones that are for competition, those guys are so ripped. Like if you look up I had no idea because you see these cows in the pasture, they look nothing like bulls at all. You look at like an actual like prize bull, that thing is a monster. And it just kind of reminded me of what you're up against as far as your competition, because those bulls that we were looking at, they're insane. They got some roids for sure.
They got some roids. Well, I have to say, I like the little sketch up you've done of the rhino. I think that'd be a pretty cool thing to do up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the patience to follow through, but I had thought about doing a limited NFT run, like maybe 100 NFTs or something. I do have a degree in design, and I have used Photoshop, but it was way back in like 5.5 version, and I've used Illustrator, so I was kind of tossing around the idea of like colorizing it and turn it into like first of an NFT project. But I spent a lot of time on the radio, and then I work full time too, and I got a huge family, 5 kids. So we'll see if
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know, man. I don't know how to do it either. So any final thoughts on Roidboiz? Anything coming up in the future that you want to mention?
In terms of I'll just keep cranking out the limited editions, and so we'll be working towards Babylon release, and that'll be the random minting at Babylon. If we decide to do anything earlier, it's not going to be with smart contracts, but it's not in the timeline as such.
No, there's no plans to do it like a database launch or anything. Probably be after smart contracts.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Sweet.
Just partly to do with what we're trying to do with the limited editions.
Yeah, and it sounds like you have a lot going on in the background too that involves a lot of coding. I can see why you wouldn't necessarily want to do that with the scope of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of going further in the project, I mean, the Roidboiz is standalone. I've stated them in their byline as the first of the gangs of Radix, and I've sort of got ideas around that. Obviously, you could sort of get a concept of it, and whether it's pulling a team in to do some gaming stuff. This is not within the scope of the Roidboiz at this stage, but there's definitely ideas, and if the project sells out and is successful, I'm definitely wanting to more with it and work with teams to really create something cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, dude. I feel like one thing that I don't know, that maybe I feel like maybe Radix is uniquely aligned to do this, but some kind of like a card game type thing. Because if you look at an NFT, and especially with traits and things, there's a lot of statistics in there, and it could be really similar to something like Magic the Gathering or something if you'd done the work. And I think that'd be hard to do on a lot of chains, but I feel like with Radix you could maybe do something like that if you wanted to. And just speaking in general terms, not necessarily any particular project.
No, yeah, it's definitely a concept that's, I don't know if Magic's actually doing it yet, but there's, can't remember the name of it, but there's a project on one of the chains which is doing that sort of idea, and it's actually where one of the Cerberus memes I did early on, one of the artwork pieces is from that game, and so yeah, it's a really cool concept to do that on chain.
Sweet. Well, it's nice talking to you, man. I appreciate you coming out to talk about your project. It sounds really great, dude. I didn't know about some of the stuff we talked about today. There's some new things for sure that I learned, especially about the Moon Boys and your ambitions. So it's really cool, dude. Definitely bullish on Roidboiz. Looking
Oh, I
forward to
appreciate
seeing
it.
how it goes.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for taking the time and doing the interview. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Oh, it's my pleasure,
growing
man.
it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, you have a wonderful night, man. I'll publish this as soon as we're done. I'll pin it, and then I'll put it on the Radix radio, and then unfortunately Twitter doesn't allow me to like download the data right away. It takes a little bit, so it'll probably be about a week or so before I get it onto YouTube. But I do have a YouTube channel also, and like the links of my Twitter pages, which it'll be the next one to go up there. I'm caught up to this point, so it'll be fun to throw it on there. Keep it alive, because Twitter Space only lasts for about 30 days or so, and then it's gone forever. So I try to archive them all. So
Oh, that's interesting that they cut them out. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of limitations on Twitter Space. Like that is one of them that I really don't like. And also, if let's say you're a PC guy and you have a really nice microphone, you can't use it for your interview. You have to get on your phone, which is fine with me. But if you have an old phone, you're going to be doomed.
Yeah, that's really weird that they don't.
I think we're just so early to Twitter Space that it's just, I feel like it's only been about a year or so since they've been doing that. So
Yeah,
hopefully they get
and
that better.
they've got to get Radix on the NFT images as well. That's once they do that, I'll look at adding an NFT to my profile.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Cool.
Well, it was a pleasure. I'll talk to you later then. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
You too, sir. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.